Hey everybody. I hope everybody's having a great day today. It is gray, dismal, and we're expecting thunderstorms. So if this power suddenly goes out, I'm hoping it won't. We had consistently had severe thunderstorm warnings for the last few days, and they've mounted to very little and most of the time nothing. So I'm probably going to get the same thing today, but just in case if we suddenly disappear, you'll know why. But Renee's kind of set us up for something preemptive so that should the power go out, then at least we can continue and record everything. So we are set up to go. I do have a shout out for today. It is dickblick.com. So I was, like most of us, tootling around the internet looking at all the fun art supplies. And right about now is when all of these companies put all of the school supplies up. Notice that with Staples and Office Depot and all of these office supply and art supply stores are putting up a lot of their school supplies. Having said that, dickblick.com is like everybody else. They load up at certain times of the year. So go and check them out. They have tons of new stuff on their website. And as always, Dick Blick's got some really great sales. So absolutely check out the deal section in their website. I have been on the hunt for pens. I have no idea why. I just did. I stopped by our local Staples store yesterday while I was out and about, and found a great deal on Derwent's fine liners, art liners. They're a fabulous marker. They're usually in the $25 to $30 range here, which is a little pricey if you can find them. And most of the time you have to order them from the UK. But I found some at Staples. They had them on sale, $12.97. Cheap like borscht. So, of course, I bought what they had on the shelf. And then when I got home, I decided to go check out staples.ca and find out if they had them on there. And lo and behold, they did. So I ordered a couple more sets because I'm sorry, $13 for a $30 set is a great deal. So I took care of that. And Dick Blick is the same. I love Dick Blick. They have great supplies. They have an amazing selection. And you know what? They're a really clever and brilliant company that happens to stock my favorite brushes. So they also carry the Dynasty Black Gold, the Dynasty Faux Squirrel, and a whole bunch of other Dynasty brushes too. So if you are shopping for some supplies for yourself or perhaps for an art student for the beginning of the new school year, go and check out dickblick.com. So that's my shout out for this week. I did not have any happy mail except for a blouse. I had ordered a blouse and it came this week. So that was the extent of my happy mail this week. Didn't have a whole lot. I did send out a whole bunch of happy mail this week. There was a whole bunch of it left here. There are a couple of just because packages that went out this week to a couple of people that I think one probably needed a little pick me up, and two, they're just, they do great things for other people. So they just keep your eyes peeled on your mailbox. There's going to be a couple of just because packages out. What else happened this week? Oh,
I think there was a birthday.
There was a very important birthday.
Yes.
To Linda Safranco. Mary, I know you watch us every Saturday, and Linda, I know you're watching. Just wanted you to know, sweetie, how much we love you and how much we appreciate everything that you do for us. And so that is why we treated you a little extra special this time around. So I hope that you had a fantastic birthday. And for those of you that have never joined us before, Linda Safranco is a fabulous little painter. She's a wonderful friend, and she helps us out with the membership group. She helps us out with the Tracy Morrow Live group. She answers questions. She helps people find what they need. She's just a tremendous help to both Renee and I when it comes to everything that we do online. She has been a remarkable friend and a tremendous supporter, and it was important to both of us that we let her know how much everything she does is appreciated. And what else? Tracy Morrow Live group. Holy smokes, guys. I have been checking on the page daily because you have to answer questions, and then we have to assess whether or not you can join the group. And the reason we do that is just to try to keep some of the trolls out, to try and keep some of the spammers out of the group, just to keep the group safe. And for a while, it was 1 or 2, but I've noticed lately we've been getting 4 or 5 of those, every day.
I had to turn on my microphone.
Oh,
You're making Linda cry.
okay. Sorry, sweetie. Wasn't my intent. But, yeah, so I have been, every morning, I have been going through all of those that have requested membership to the Tracy Morrow Live group. And if I've declined you and you are a real person, I'm sorry. But we do go and we check the profiles to everybody that submits a request, so that if anything jumps out that kind of tells us that it might be a troll or whatever, we decline it. And the first tip off for me is usually the friends. I've noticed a number of them, they have 0 friends. They have no friends, no people on their Facebook page. And then when I go and look, all they've done is update their profile pic for the last 6 months, and that's it. So even though they joined in 2009. So, if I have declined you and you are a real person, please just send me a message. You pop onto the website, click on the little speech bubble and send me a message, and I'll be more than happy to grant you access to the page. But I'm trying to keep it free and clear of all of those creeps. Well, I don't know what else to call them. They're creepy. They get on there and creeps, trolls, whatever. So, and I've actually, a couple have managed to get by me, and I've ended up deleting them because they're not participating. I don't even know why they bother. So, but, we've got a bunch of fun stuff coming up. We do have a contest coming up for those of you that are part of the Tracy Morrow Live group. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We have so many new people joining us. It's fantastic. I'm loving it. It's just so much fun to see all these new faces and these new names popping up. And I've been seeing them in the on the live page when we're live on Saturdays, which is really fun. It's great to see all these new old painters coming back and picking up their brushes. I think it's great. So we're going to be doing a little bit of Christmas today. And because it's Christmas, yes, Renee's rolling his eyes because he knows there's glitter involved. And because it's Christmas, we have little gifts to give away. So we have 6 packages. I know there's only 3 there. The other 3 are in the drawer. I haven't picked them out yet. So we have 6 packages to give away today, which will be a lot of fun. Some of them contain stamps. They can just contain a bunch of stuff. Black gold brushes, we just threw a bunch of goodies in there. So we have 6 little giveaways to give away today, and that's just going to make things more fun. And we're going to be painting warm holiday wishes, which is just this great mug of cocoa. I don't know what it is about me and coffee cups, teacups, and mugs. I don't know. I like painting them.
Oh, no. Jessica's happy that there's glitter.
That there's glitter. Everybody's happy there's glitter except you. Yep. You're the only one that doesn't like glitter.
Yep.
And pardon me, I'm snuffling because my allergies are acting up. And I'm not alone. I do know that because some of my friends are really struggling, especially the ones living in areas where you're getting a lot of smoke. Mm. Yeah, they're really struggling with the allergies. I have had just an itchy nose and itchy eyes for the last couple of weeks. And this week it just sort of come to a head. So Debbie Buckman, Easton, I love glitter. Yes, I'm with you, sister. Debbie Visser, hi, sweetie. Nancy Ficardi, oh, you found the coupon code. We had a problem with the website last night. For about 6 hours, it wouldn't let anybody buy anything. Didn't know that until about 9:30 last night. So I spent till about 10:30 online with tech support with my hosting company, and it was a problem on their end. I was worried it was a problem with PayPal, but it turned out they had upgraded a few features on my server, which they do on a regular basis. And ordinarily, it's not really a problem. There was a new thing that they added to the checkout process where you could put comments in or questions or requirements. It just expanded on that little single line thing. Anyway.
Let me guess, that made it so it was a requirement rather than an option.
Yes. And so everybody was trying to check out no matter what payment process they were trying to use. And it created quite a problem. So it took us about an hour, and we finally got it all sorted out. So we took that option off of my server altogether. So we are back to the single line, which is just a note, which is fine. But having this little window and it being mandatory to fill it out was created quite a problem. So everything is now working as it should. So I apologize. So I think it's time we picked up our brushes and got busy and play a little bit with our holiday wishes, our warm holiday wishes. I like this one. I like this tag. It's 4 inches by 12. You don't have to put it on a tag. I think a tall, narrow surface of any type would work just fine. And then you could do a variety of things with it. And there's nothing to say that you couldn't rearrange this and put it on a different surface altogether. Just, take the lettering apart and arrange it however you like. And then, of course, it's using snowflakes because I'm obsessed with snowflakes. So we're going to be putting on some cute little dimensional snowflakes. If you're looking for the kit, we actually do have the kit available on the website, and it comes with everything. So you'll be able to create this fun little piece. I enjoyed doing this one. It was a lot of fun. So much so. I had a couple of questions in reference to the pattern. Somebody had asked me, did it not come with line drawings? Yeah, it comes with line drawings, but there is a bonus line drawing that you can download. And it's a separate download when you purchase the pattern. And it's another design that can use the same color palette. So you can have a little bit of fun with it. So just check it out. It's a lot of fun. So we're going to get started painting our warm holiday wishes. Go ahead.
You want me to press button?
I do want you to press button.
Okie dokie.
So this is the piece we're painting. This is just a fun one. I decided I was going to keep it as simple as possible. So basic black background. I love a black background on holiday stuff. I just think it makes all the colors just pop. And I deviated a little from the traditional holiday color palette, just a little. And I threw in some pink because I thought this would be fun.
It's a little big for the camera frame.
It's a little big. Yeah, see, there. It's just tall. But I think it's a really fun project, and it's actually really easy to paint. I like things that are simple to paint. They don't have to be really elaborate, but it's always a good thing if they look like they are. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with that. I love these little snowflakes. They're just a hoot. And the kit comes with 3 1-inch and 3 1/2-inch snowflakes. So you get a panel like this and one of those. And I love these little add-ons. I just think they're a lot of fun. So this is the one we're going to paint. And we started with a base coat of lamp black. I've got 2 coats on here. And I like to put down a base of warm white, especially in areas where there's going to be color that is perhaps not as opaque. So I've got a little bit of warm white down. So I did the icing first, and then I put a wash of warm white over the leaves, and I put a little warm white on the berries that extend past. And I just realized I missed something. Some days I'm so gifted. I just realized that I missed a spot. I'm going to grab a little bit of warm white and a small brush. So right here, there's supposed to be icing that goes in behind that berry, like that. Honestly. There we go. It's a good thing it's just paint, right? There. Okay. So I'm going to start by putting in the red. Now, I use tomato red. I like tomato red and country red for this type of thing. And I wanted it a little deeper, so I didn't put any white underneath. So I'm going to grab around. And I cleaned up my studio yesterday and can't find anything now. So I wanted the red to be a little bit deeper, so I didn't bother to put any white underneath it. So it is going to be affected by that black, but it's just going to give us a deeper tone to the red. And I love these holiday colors. Love traditional Christmas palette, and then I like to see a little bit of something that's perhaps not as traditional, just thrown in. That's why from time to time you'll see colors like Bahama Blue in my Christmas pieces, or in this case I went with Baby Pink. Not really a traditional Christmas color, but I really like how it looks. And it's a fun little add-on. Now, if I were to put white in these stripes, this red's going to be very bright. And I didn't really want that this time around. I do want it for the berries. I want them to stand out a little bit for the berries, but for the stripes in the cup, I wanted the color to be a little bit deeper. So I did not use any white underneath. So I've got a little bit of white on the berries here. And by putting that white there, those berries get a little bit brighter. And I've got a funky little hair on my brush. Doesn't that drive you bananas? I think we all get that, where you get a hair in your brush that seems to come out past the tip of the brush. I'm going to show you a little trick to get rid of those without damaging your brush. So you can find that stray and pull it out away from the brush. Here we go. And pull it out away from the ferrule so that it's separate from the brush, and then clip it. So you can see I've got a hair sticking off out that way. I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to clip that off. And then I can, my brush wet, and voila, look at that. I have a nice point. Again, brush away. I had a brush maker to show me that trick to eliminate those little strays that you get from time to time. See, no point. And it's just pull it away out to the side from the ferrule and then trim it. Don't try to trim the tip of the brush, you'll just ruin the brush altogether. So, but you can just bend the stray away from the rest of it and then trim it off. And that way you're not affecting the structure or the tip of the brush. The minute you trim something off the tip, you're trimming away the finest point of the hair, or the bristle, or the flag, I guess is what we call it. When you trim that away, it no longer works the same way. So you bend it away from the ferrule and then trim it off. Nice and low, and that way you don't affect the business end of your brush.
What red did you use for the stripes?
I used tomato red. Love tomato red.
Oh. Good morning from beautiful Portugal.
Wow. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. How much do you enlarge the line drawing to achieve the 4.5 by 12 size?
The line drawing is actual size in the pattern.
Oh, there you go.
Just printed on an 8.5 by 14.
Printed on legal.
Yep. Printed on a legal format, it will be actual size. I love this red. Just such a pretty red. So I'm going to let this dry so that I can come back and put another coat on. Now I'm using a pretty unusual palette. Well, not for me, I suppose. It's when you look at the color palette sitting on the table, you go, there's no way that's going to work at first. But it's a traditional color palette, just a little left of center. So here's the color palette. We're working with baby pink, Bahama blue, snapper red, tomato red, almondine.
Bonjour depuis de la France.
Oh, good morning. Lush green, matcha green, asphaltum, of course, a little bit of warm white. We also have some plantation pine, which is our dark green, and some Prussian blue. I do love my Prussian blue. So get that last little bit of red in, and then we're going to talk about that cookie. Oops, I almost forgot this bit down here, the base of our cup.
I thought I was early, but I'm an hour behind.
Yeah, that time zone thing throws us all off, I think. I just put my finger in the
Wet paint.
wet paint, and then I got red paint on my white paint. Not good. So, there we go. Now, when I'm putting that base coat of white down on this piece, it really is not a pretty base coat because
How come I'm not getting YouTube here?
we want some texture. I like seeing some texture. I don't necessarily want to see everything perfectly smooth on here. So we're going to start with all of this whipped cream in here, and the shading color I'm going to use is Bahama blue. I like Bahama blue. I like it for shading white. And we're also going to use a little bit of asphaltum. You knew that was coming. If you've painted with me at any point in time, you know that I use a lot of asphaltum.
Ooh, that cat is going nuts.
That's the other thing that happened this week. We adopted Airy this week.
Yep.
And although we had a few little concerns at the beginning because she was a little skittish, those disappeared very quickly. Airy is
Special.
she's special, let me tell you. She's something else.
She's got 2 extra paws.
Yep. So all of those little folds. Ooh, that's a little strong. Little too strong. I need to rinse my brush out here because I got this a little too strong. So I'm just going to pull a little of that color off. And I just do that with a little bit of water. There we go. Got a little heavy-handed. We're chuckling because we can hear Ari upstairs. I know you guys probably can't hear it on camera, but the family room is directly above us.
And that cat is going nuts.
And she's running across the wood floors. She is something else. And she's giving our big tomcat, our 10-year-old there, a run for his money. Mr. Gizmo is, I think, a little traumatized.
Yeah, he adjusted quickly.
Yeah, he did. The two of them have been playing, but it's remarkable how huge he seems compared to her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 13, almost 14 weeks old. And Gizmo is 10 years old. Gizmo is probably outweighs her by 20 pounds. She is quite something. And she's not the least bit intimidated, which just kills us. So I don't know, it's not really showing up on camera, but so I'm just separating each of those little swirls, I guess, so that we've got a little bit of separation. Some nice little shadows there. And still, it seems very whited out on camera. So I know it's very light. It's not as light to me as it is to you, but I'm going to deepen it a little so you can see where everything is, because it's really not showing up well on camera. There we go. So hopefully that gives it a little more definition so you can see it. There we go. There. So now we have all of that shape in. Now I'm going to add a little shadow to the underside of these folds. Just a little. Just a little float. Nothing too strong. Here we go.
You always seem attracted to animals that are special in some way? Yeah.
Yeah. I like to think of it as we're suckers for the sob story. She is special. She's polydactyls, which means that she's got extra toes.
She's tetrapolydactyl.
She's tetrapolydactyl. So she not only does she have extra toes, but she's only short by one toe of having an extra paw on each foot. So if you look at her paw, she's got a regular paw, and then on the side here, she's got a very small paw with another set of claws and everything. But so we're going to have the vet have a look at her next week, so that just to make sure that everything is copacetic, and she's got to go get her needles and whatnot. But she is a ball of energy. And she is sweet as can be. She's just an absolute pet. So we have candy cane. Now I generally don't trace the stripes of candy cane on when I
There's Ari.
transform. Oh, you found a picture of her, did you?
I took the one off your Facebook.
Oh, okay.
That's little Ari.
And she is as sweet as she looks. She's just got the sweetest disposition. And she is a going concern.
Yeah.
She climbs everything.
Yeah. Everything. And it's been a long time since you guys had a cat with a full set of claws.
It's been a long time since we've had a kitten in the house, so we kind of forgot how busy they can be.
It's been about 10 years.
Yeah.
Gizmo was the last kitten you got.
Yep. But he wasn't as busy as she is. Gizmo was pretty mellow and laid back from day one.
Yeah.
Ari is not. She is just wired for sound. Okay, I got my stripes backwards, but that's okay. So I have stripes on my candy cane, or not really a candy cane, peppermint stick. That's the word I would have used. So I want to deepen a few little things around here. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. I don't know where my shape maker is. Can you reach in that box there and get me a shape maker? Oh.
Which one would it be?
64, I think.
That's classic corners.
Okay. 65. Yep, that's the one.
That's the one you need?
That's the one I need. Perfect. So, I like these things. This is a shape maker. We use the, I have different ones. This one is circles. Now, there's berries on our, well, not berries. What are they? Candy. That's the word. Little candy decorations. So I'm going to choose this one. And I'm going to grab a nice sharp pencil. And I'm going to draw my berries back in. Or those candies, I guess.
Whenever I check out new pets, my husband always says, no blind three-legged seniors. And don't listen, and rescued many seniors and blind pups.
They need a home, just like everybody
Yep.
else does. We went to our local SPCA, and they literally did not have any younger cats.
They were all...
And we've had senior cats, and so we wanted a younger cat, not necessarily a kitten, but
3, 4, 5, 6 years old.
yeah, but they didn't really have anything, and most of the kittens were still not available for adoption. So we were a little disappointed, and come to find out, my husband goes online, our local buy and sell place. A fellow in the next village, his cat had had a litter of kittens, and he was desperately trying to find homes for them all. So figured, well, you know what? They need a home too. So instead of them ending up in shelters, we would go and have a look. And we came home with Ari. Thankfully, my husband exhibited a little bit of self-control and did not come home with all of them. Because that could happen.
Easily.
Easily. So that little shape maker is a great way to just draw in things. So you can just guesstimate where they go. They don't have to be in exactly the right location. So you can just guesstimate. And I'm going to base coat each of these candies with baby pink. And this is just, it's quick and easy to do it this way. And the other thing is, because you're using a circle maker or a shape maker, you get nice round candies. Like, they stay round.
Came home with just one kitten? Amateurs.
I know. No, we are not amateurs. Just like I said, he exhibited some self-control because chances were very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say it's a good thing he didn't have puppies.
Yeah.
That's not out of the realm of possibility either.
Nope.
So while I have that baby pink on the palette, I'm going to base that star, well, not the star, the icing on the star with baby pink, since I have it on the palette. And this is also your opportunity to fix things that aren't perhaps as straight as you would like them to be. This is what happens when you're tracing and transferring at 11 o'clock at night. After spending an hour on the phone with tech support. My website provider or host is based in California, so fortunately I'm not having to be on the phone with somebody, you know, really early in the morning or very late at night. So they're very good. At least I think they're based in California. They could be in Arizona. So I'm going to dry this real quick. I love this baby pink. It's a great color for icing.
A friend of mine is fostering a dog that I thought was a Malinois.
Okay.
Turns out it was a mountain cur. That's a big dog. Yeah, they get chunky.
So Renee is starting to get really nervous.
Why?
Well, because the number is getting higher on that glitter fund. The lights and ornament fund.
I'm not nervous. I have to put glitter in my beard regardless.
That's true.
I'm not nervous anymore. They achieved the glitter aspect.
Yeah. And the donations are continuing.
Of course they are.
Yeah. So when I checked that fund online today, we have to update this one. We are at 2405.
What? What?
$2,405 is where we are right now. Hee I don't know who's having more fun with this, you guys or me. So I'm going to dry this real quick, and then we're going to show you how to do some fun little things with these candies. Now, I used a graphite pencil. I love these Tombow graphite pencils. I'm going to grab my Tombow eraser. I like these black erasers because they don't polish the background. They don't polish the paint. They remove graphite without smearing it all over the place, which drives me insane. I hate it when that happens. What?
You want to know, including Facebook stars?
Okay.
$3,795.63.
Awesome sauce.
So yeah, you guys get lights and ornaments now.
You're going to have to change that number.
Yeah. Yes, I am. Jeez. Well, the only way I can do that is I have to end it. Start a new one.
Yep.
What are we calling this one?
Christmas for the Buppers.
Goal? What's the goal amount?
Well, we're still how many months away? 4.5, 5 months?
What's the goal?
Let's do 4,000.
4,000? Well, no, we're already at 3,700.
37.
$3,795.63.
Okay. Okay, I did not hear that part. Okay, so better make it 5,000 then.
I'll make it 5,000.
3,700 and what?
$65.
And 83 cents.
63 cents.
63 cents. Awesome sauce.
And 12. What was the date?
December 2nd.
December 2nd. Give me a second. Has to be a Saturday.
Yep.
August, September, October, November, December. It's a Saturday. You can't donate it while I don't have the goal up. Damn.
Give him a minute. He's going to put it back up.
Xmas for the puppers.
Xmas for puppers. So we started out with a goal of what? 1,500? That was the initial goal?
Yeah. There. Oh, and yeah. How did you choose Aries' name?
My husband came up with the brilliant idea. We couldn't figure out a name. So he came up with the brilliant idea that what was her zodiac sign. Turns out she's an Aries. She was born on March 21st. So Aries didn't work. And we wanted to do something different. So we chose Airy. And the spelling is A-E-R-Y.
A-E-R-Y.
Yeah.
The Celtic spelling.
Airy. Awesome. That's awesome.
Make it 7? Jeez.
That's fabulous. You guys are amazing. The way you guys have jumped onto this is great. We're loving it.
What was that donation? Oh, I counted it. Awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Deborah Isam? How did you choose Aries' name? Yeah. $10. Thank you.
Thank you. Every little penny helps. So the color that I used for the cookie is almondine. That's that new color that Decor put out in 22. Somebody said to me that it looks like antique white. It does in some ways, but it's not as grayed out as antique white. It's a nice tone. I'm really liking this color. It took me a while to find a place for it. You know, to find out where I was going to use this color, because it just sort of, I don't know, it was an odd color. But for cookies, it's great. Pretty, pretty. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Now, a lot of you have asked why I very rarely put more than 1 or 2 coats on. When it comes to certain colors, because I put layers and layers and layers of colors on, a lot of the time putting on multiple base coats and trying to get to that fully opaque base coat is just, it's too much, and it doesn't really achieve anything because we're putting all these other colors over top of it. So as long as it's a fairly uniform coverage, I don't usually worry about it being fully opaque. As long as the coverage is uniform, that's all I really concern myself with.
An elf costume.
I'm sorry. I had a visual. Oh my gosh. Oh. If that doesn't traumatize you, nothing will.
It's the knees.
It's the knees, yes. Oh. Okay. Sorry, son. I did.
No, you're not.
Yeah, no, I'm not. That was good. So next Saturday, we're painting a violet teacup. One of those little shelf sitters. I don't know. There's something about that African violet piece that we did a few weeks ago that just, I really loved how that looked. And then I was sitting here one evening and just thought, need to do a shelf sitter. So that is what we are doing next Saturday. It's a pretty piece, and they look so pretty sitting together. I don't know, they look nice sitting on a windowsill. What's everybody up to? What's for dinner tonight? We're having hot chicken sandwiches.
As opposed to cold ones.
Yeah. I got my husband went into a grocery store with me the other day, and I think he was a little traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
He grumbles about the way I grocery shop, but he discovered why the other day. Our local Costco has just the best rotisserie chicken. It is so good. And you can't beat it for the price. It's ridiculous. So I usually buy 2 at a time, and I take all the meat off the bone, and that way I have some nice freshly cooked chicken in the fridge. People use it for sandwiches, and we do all sorts of stuff with it. But he was wondering why I buy 2 at a time. Well, the rotisserie chickens at our Costco were $7.99 the other day. $6.99, sorry. So $6.99 for a rotisserie chicken. You can't buy a whole fresh chicken for $6.99. So we were in our one of my favorite grocery stores the other day, and he saw the price of a single chicken was $17, and I paid less than that for 2 cooked ones. So he's not grumbling anymore.
Sam's Club has the chicken for $4.99.
Well, they're in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't buy a whole chicken for that.
No.
So, although I do like to have a couple of whole chickens in the freezer, I usually buy my whole chickens in the big jumbo pack that they get at Costco, and that way I always have 2 or 3 in the freezer if I just want to roast a chicken or whatever. But the rotisserie chickens are they're very convenient, and the ones that we have here are very tasty.
Oh, yeah. Harley anniversary. I forgot about that.
What's that?
Harley Davidson's anniversary.
Oh, really?
The Harley anniversary is going on in Milwaukee.
Oh, my.
Bikers are all over the city.
No doubt. Well, we'll have to get your dad a little bow or something. A little cupcake with a...
Happy anniversary. Oh, yeah, he's got a 100th anniversary motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's right, too.
He's got one of the limited edition V-Rods. It's his baby.
It's not even the color it comes in.
Nope. Is this red?
It's supposed to come silver.
Yep. His is red. Now, the green that I'm using for this holly is lush green. It's very close to antique green. It's a little bit more opaque. than antique green. I love this color. I love antique green. That is my go-to green. I use it all the time. But this lush green is another favorite. Especially over black, because it has great coverage. Covers really well. And it doesn't seem to be overly affected by the black because of its opacity. So there we go.
Yeah, you can't even get a rotisserie chicken at Sobeys for that price.
Can't get a rotisserie chicken. Well, yeah, you can, but
Not for $6.99.
Not for $6.99 you can't. I do like Sobeys, though. It's nice. I make a trip there every once in a while just to stock up on certain things.
I was too tired to care, so I made hot dogs.
What's wrong with hot dogs?
Nothing wrong with hot dogs. You can get chicken hot dogs.
Mm-hmm. Don't like chicken.
I'm not a fan of mixed. I like all beef.
I like all beef, or I like I like those big honkin'.
Sausages?
It's not, you know the ones I mean.
Smokies?
The Smokies. I love those things.
Because there's more garlic in them than meat.
Garlic is a food group.
Yes.
So yay. Okay. I got enough color on there, I think.
You think?
I think. Enough to get us going. So we're going to start with all of this business up here, all of that whipped cream, because, you know, that's the best part of a hot chocolate. Other than the chocolate is the whipped cream. And if you've got, you know, fortunate enough that you've got all of the goodies on top, like we do here, a little more. All these candies, you know these are peppermint, right? So I'm going to use a little bit of berry cobbler. I do love this color. Berry cobbler is a favorite for me. We're going to shade all of this pink with berry cobbler. And I'm going to use, we're going to need a small angled shader. So I think today I'm going to paint with my faux squirrel because I love my faux squirrel. So I'm using a 3/8 angle. And I'm going to cover a couple of tips about floating, because it seems to be one of those things that a lot of painters struggle with. And it's not, even experienced painters struggle with floating, because it's one of those things. It's the F word. So floating, one of the best things that you can do especially when you're just learning to float, let your brush sit in the water for a little while. Give it a good 5 minutes. Let it soak in some clean water. And the reason for it is this. This is the ferrule. And if you don't get lots of water in here, what happens is the brush tends to drink your paint. And so you'll end up the paint creeping up the brush, and then it gets up underneath the ferrule, and then it's really hard to get rid of it. If you soak your brush, really soak it, let it drink up lots of water, it fills up the ferrule and the hair with water, and that way your paint doesn't travel up there. So I use a lot of Joe Sonia's Fast Dry Glaze to dress my brush. Now what that means is I dip into my glaze and I just pull off the excess just by running it up the sides of the bottle or the cup. So that now the brush is wet, but it's not dripping. And then you're going to pick up a little bit of paint just on the tip of the brush, just a small amount. And you're going to blend it on your palette. I'm going to pull my palette over here a little bit. Move some brushes so you can see what I'm doing. So I've got a little bit of that berry cobbler on my brush, and I'm going to blend. So I make that stripe like that on my palette. and I'm working it back and forth. And this part is important. When you're floating, you need to get paint so it's evenly distributed throughout the brush. If you're just doing this, you're not distributing the paint that's on the other side. So you have to turn that brush over and get that whole chisel edge on the surface. And as you're doing that, you're going to move the brush forward. So into that puddle, move it forward. And then move it back. So that when you go to float, and I'm going to float on this side of these little candies, you get a nice transition, that gradient of color. So it's darkest at one area and then gradually fades out as it goes across the brush. And that helps give you a nice even float. And when you're floating, make sure the whole chisel edge of the brush is on the surface. Not just the tip. Get that whole chisel edge of the brush on the surface. And then when you go to float again, rinse your brush, pick up your glaze, tip load your brush, get a little color on the tip, blend, 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 walk it forward, walk it back. And then you get a nice uniform float. And we're going to do the same thing to that cookie. Whole chisel edge is on the brush.
Got a question on where to get the fluid media acrylics.
The DecoWort fluid media acrylics, they have been very difficult to get. If you're in the US, you can get them right off of decowort.com.
But in Canada?
In Canada, I'm afraid, off the top of my head, not too many places. My favorite location, however, is Country Bear Wood. Country Bear Woodcrafts is my favorite location for that. They're a DecoWort distributor. So I don't know if Renee has that post. Do you have that?
I don't think I have it in the description.
Okay. So we'll post that link for you. So I've got my float of that berry cobbler on my icing. I'm going to put a little float down here too. So we've got a nice little shadow on there. Now that is the trick to loading your brush for a float. But here's another little trick. If you have one of those cellulose kitchen sponges, a blue sponge, if you keep a moist sponge on your palette, it will help you get just the right amount of water in the brush. So soak it, get some water in it. It'll be all drippy and you know it's got too much. Just touch it to the wet sponge, both sides. It'll pull off the excess, but it won't take all of the moisture out of your brush. So I'm going to put a shadow underneath these candies. So I'm going to float with a little bit of Bahama Blue. And again, same process. Blend, 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 and then walk into it, and then walk back. And we're going to put a little shadow to the left side of those candies. And I took off too much paint. Here we go. So just a little float to the left side of each of those candies. Or the right side, sorry. Just like that. It's just a little C-stroke going around the right side of the candy. And if you are looking for the Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze, go and check out Erica Joanne's website. ericajoanne.com. I love Erica's work. She's phenomenal. And she is one of the few places that carries it. And I believe Country Bear also stocks it. So I have a little bit of asphaltum. Now I've heavily thinned this asphaltum, and we're going to deepen these little shadows with a float of that asphaltum. And then you're going to go around and deepen that Bahama blue on our whipped cream. And remember what I said about having that whole chisel edge on the surface? It's important. That way you don't end up with a line. And it gives you nice uniform floats. Just like that. Now I like that little bit of asphaltum over top of my Bahama blue. It warms up that cool blue a little bit. And it helps tone and deepen those shadows. Which then brings us to our candy cane. So I'm using a little bit of Prussian blue. And again, tiny amount. Prussian blue is very dark and very strong, so we don't want to have a ton of it on the brush. We want to have control. And we're going to put a shadow down the right side of our candy cane. Right to the edge, right over top of the red, just like so. And then when you get to the top of the candy cane, you're going to put a little float like this. I'm going to darken this so you can see what I'm doing. So it's just a little C-stroke at the top of the candy cane. So that's going to give you a nice shadow on that candy cane. And then we're going to come down to these red stripes. And we're going to put a float of that Prussian blue. Be a little stronger down here behind that cookie and just on the red stripe. And I'm going to walk it up a little ways. And again, have that whole chisel edge on the surface. There we go. And that gives our cup that round shape, that curvature that we're looking for. And then we're going to take that same blue and come down here and shade underneath our cookie. Right there. And don't forget to put a little shadow there to separate it. Remember, there's a ridge. So we need to put a little float right there. And that's going to give our cup a little more shape. Now you can let that dry, and if you want it to be a little bit darker, you can come back in and put another little float in. Mine was not quite deep enough to suit, so I wanted to deepen it a little bit. There we go. And then we're going to come up underneath the top of that rim. Remember the rim of the cup there? On the red stripe, I'm going to put a little float of that Prussian blue. Just a little one. Doesn't have to be a wide float. It's just going to define the edge of that cup a little bit. There we go. So we've got a bit more shape. We've got a few cast shadows, and it's starting to really take shape here. I like it. So we're going to need a little bit of plantation pine. My bottle is just about empty. So a little bit of plantation pine, and we're going to put a nice little shadow down here at the base of the leaf. And again, remember what I said, keep that whole chisel edge on the surface. That's what gives you those nice smooth transitions, those nice shadows. Blend, 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 blend. You got to be a one blender. So, nice little shadow at the base of the leaf. See? You get that whole chisel edge on the surface, you get a much more smooth float. And it's important to use the brush, the right brush. So if you've got a surface, a space that's only 1/2 inch to 1 inch, grab a brush that's, that will fit within that space. Trying to paint large areas with a tiny brush will drive you crazy. Trying to paint tiny areas with a large brush will drive you crazy. So, little float down the center. Will give us nice little shadow. There we go. I was trying to find the, we got a bunch of new names in here today. Barb Schwabel. Hi, Barb. You don't know fun till you spill glitter on your corgi. Yep. Sneeze putting on gold leaf flakes sometime with a black cat. See what happens. Yeah, just trying to see.
They're going too quick.
Yeah, they're just broom by here, so. What was the name of the paint I'm using for the cookie? Almondine. Almondine. I love this color. It was one of those ones that kind of had to grow on me a little bit. It had to grow on me a little bit. Oh, goodness. Having another one of those moments. So, let's continue. I get painting and then I miss all of the conversation. So, I got those little shadows on my... I'm seeing the Facebook stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Dove Gray Meaford. Yes, Karen, I know. It's Dove Gray here too. Hiya, Heidi.
All I see is YouTube. What's going on? Usually both.
Linda Martin. Martina Sakula. Hi. Hot and sunny fat fingers typing too fast. Oh, that's a good question. Marilyn Brown asked me which paper I'm using, that the paint doesn't seem to be drying. I'm actually using this is Jack Reicheson's Gray Matters palette. It's my favorite. I love the Gray Matters palettes. It's not drying because it's so blessed humid here.
Everything is sticky.
Everything is sticky. It's just ew. I don't do humidity. And the heat and humidity is really just killing me. Oh, I need to shake my paint. Ouch. I cleaned up my studio this week because it was in desperate need. This is part of the problem. I get creative. I go on creative binges and I have projects everywhere. I have stuff everywhere. I have bottles of paint everywhere. And you notice? I went through all of my brushes this week. He's looking traumatized again.
Oh, I'm trying to see where you
Cleaned up?
cleaned up.
Look,
What?
all the brushes.
Oh,
I cleaned up all of my brushes. I had 1 million brushes out, and I used like this many. This is what's funny. I had 500,000 brushes. This is what I use right here. This this is my everyday brush thing. So I just thought, it's ridiculous having all of these brushes out. So
does Renee not clean up after you? I don't dare.
I clean up after him. That's, and he doesn't dare say a word. But my studio is my space, and it gets a little hectic down here. It's creative chaos.
Organized chaos.
Yes, you have to admit that I do have organized chaos.
The fact that you can find things.
Yeah. I am very organized. It's just, there's a lot. It's a lot.
But the heat index is 126 degrees.
Oh my dear Lord. South, the OKC was 97, but heat index put at 126. Not a typo. We don't usually see temperatures that high. We did see we did see 40 last week, 40 degrees Celsius, which makes it 95, somewhere around there. But with, it was so sticky and so hot, you could hardly breathe. It was just, yeah. And we're not used to that. We are in Eastern Canada, so we're not used to having ew. and it was ew this week. Very ew.
I've experienced 140 degrees. Never again.
No. Jeez, no. So we're going to start highlighting a few things, and I like doing this candy cane because I like the look of it. So I'm going to float with a little bit of warm white. And we put our shadow right on the edge all the way down the back. But our highlight is going to come in from the edge. Just a little, about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to float warm white all the way down. Like so. And then to give it that really slick, polished look, I'm going to grab my favorite liner. It's in here somewhere. There it is. And a thin line of warm white. And it comes in, ooh, goodness, that's too much. It comes in just slightly in from the edge of the float. I'm going to put a line of warm white all the way down. And that gives us that nice polished look, that slick look on the candy cane. The shiny stuff. And then we get to do the fun stuff with the candies. Now, much like I did with the candy cane, we're going to come in just slightly from the edge to put the highlight on. So I'm going to put a float of warm white just in from the edge, just a little. In other words, I want a sliver of the base color showing through. I want to see a little bit of that base color. Oops. To blend.
140 degrees is not recommended to work a dog in.
It's not recommended for anybody to work in.
Take about 100 degrees off of that for me. I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't do heat.
tough for you when working, Doug? Yeah, it's 60 degrees Celsius was hot.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Did you complain to management?
They would tell me to kick rocks.
Yep, pound sand. So I'm going to highlight the icing. And I just realized I goofed when I did this one. So I'm going to highlight the icing just in from the edge. Because I want this icing to have a little bit of a dome, if that makes any sense. I love watching those videos where they're decorating these cookies at high speed. Have you seen those? They're great. Very artistic. So I've got a little bit of warm white, like so. So it gives our cookie a little bit of elevation. So this doesn't look like it's just flat. So it gives that icing the illusion that it's just slightly raised. Now, I like the kind of polished look that, that slick, wet look that you get with that type of cookie. So I want to put a little bit of a highlight on. I'm using a small liner or a small rigger. I just want to put a little highlight in here just to give it that wet look. And it's just a little stroke. You don't do a lot.
I think Edward Hensley is taking a couple of weeks off.
Ooh. Edward deserves a vacay. I like the cookie. So our cookie also has candies. So I'm going to dry this real quick. And we're going to put some candies on our cookie.
Too hot, just stay inside and watch Tracy dive. Fair enough.
Fair enough. That's where I'm going to be anyway. So I wanted to put a few candies on. I'm going to make them a little smaller than the candies that are up here. So I'm going a little smaller. And I'm using my shape maker. I'm going to put, I think probably 5. I like an odd number. You can make them smaller or you can make them bigger. It's entirely up to you. And they can go wherever you want. They don't have to go where I put them. So we're going to take those candies and we're going to base coat them with a little bit of warm white. And again, I just used a graphite pencil to sketch those in. And then the white paint, I just take up to the line. And it just helps you get nice, clean, round candies. I had entirely too much fun this week. I've been designing for a couple of magazines. I sent off my pieces for Painting World. And
classes.
And I've got classes coming up. I'm Zooming tomorrow with White Mountain Decorative Painters. I'm excited about that. And yeah, I've got classes coming up. I've got a Zoom class coming up on my website. We're going to be painting the autumn sunflowers, the autumn flower market. I love that piece. So there's still places available if anybody wants to join us.
What brushes are you using?
Right now I am using a 10-aught rigger just to do my base coating in here. I like the flats, like working with a small flat brush. It works really well for this. Now I'm going to switch to an even smaller angled shader. I'm going to switch to this one. This is a 1/4 inch. I better find one in the faux squirrel. Get a faux squirrel. 1/4 inch faux squirrel angled shader. I'm going to let that soak for a second. And I'm going to dry this paint and then I'm going to remove those graphite lines from my candies.
Oh, if you put silver pearls on the pink, what would you suggest?
If you're using a silver metallic, shade them with. I tend to lean towards Prussian blue. I find black grays them out, flattens them out a little bit. A little bit of Prussian blue would be a good shading color for silver. So I'm just removing that little graphite line from the pencil. Et voila. Love these. These are my two favorite erasers. The Mono Black Plastic from Tombow and the Factus Black 18. The reason I like these is they don't polish black backgrounds. They don't smear the graphite all over the place. These are just my two favorite erasers. Love them.
Ah, Deb, everyone stay inside in the air conditioner. I was 5'1" till I went outside to get the mail, come back, and I was 5 foot. Sugar melts in the sun.
It does melt in the sun. So we're going to lift these candies up a little bit, which means we're going to shade that pink with a little float on the right side with a little bit of that berry cobbler, the same color that we shaded the icing with. So just a little float to the right side. Itty bitty.
I missed the purpose of soaking the brush.
The purpose of soaking the brush is to fill up the ferrule with water instead of paint. Makes your brushes easier to clean. And extends the life of your brushes. Because you're not having to get all that paint out of your ferrule. So give them a good soak. So we're going to shade those little candies with a little bit of Bahama Blue. So I'm going to shade them on the right side, semicircle, with Bahama Blue. Just like that. And it's not a strong float. Doesn't have to be. But if you find that it's not enough, don't be afraid to go back in, put a little bit more on. It's paint, that's what it's built for. So you can put a little more on, so you get a little more dimension. Now, remember what I did up here to the white? I put a little bit of float of asphaltum over top of that blue. I'm going to do the same thing to these. So it is heavily thinned. We're not using this color full strength. So we're going to put just a weak float of asphaltum over top of that Bahama Blue. It's just going to tone these little candies a little bit. It just deepens that color just a little. There we go. It's not strong, but it is going to give our little pearls, little candy pearls, a little more oomph. And then for a final highlight, you're going to take a little bit of warm white, and right up here at the upper left side, just where that white joins the blue, you're going to put a little dot of white. And that is your highlight. And it makes your candies stand out. So we get nice candies. So that little float on the right side just helps elevate those candies, gives them a little bit more dimension. And then putting that shadow in gives it the round shape. Putting the toner on deepens the color, gives us a little more of a cast shadow. It also slightly changes the white so that we can use a little bit of warm white for that highlight. And so we keep that highlight where the white and the blue join, and then it gives you nice contrast, and it's subtle, and it gives you that nice little elevated candy. Super simple way to get really round candies. So we've already highlighted these little guys up here, so I'm going to take my warm white and do the same thing. That little dot, upper right where the white joins, or the upper left, sorry, where the white float joins that berry cobbler. And voila. Candies. Fun candies. So I'm going to dry that so I don't smear those little dots because it's me and I will. So we're going to highlight.
You're giving somebody an aneurysm.
Who am I giving an aneurysm to?
Look at the bottom left corner of that
Oh,
cookie.
right here.
No.
Oh, the cookie. What about it?
Oh, sorry, your bottom right
Yeah, the
corner
smear
of the
paint.
cookie.
What about it?
Bottom left
Bottom left. What about it?
of the cookie. Look at the cookie.
I am looking at the cookie. I don't see what you're pointing at.
Giving people an aneurysm.
Why?
Because you got an odd number of pearls.
Yes. I usually go with an odd number.
But why is there one in the center and not one in the point of the star?
It's in the original.
They all feel like they're...
Then by all means,
Put one if you want one.
fine. I'll put one in if it'll make you feel better. It's paint, right? I can do whatever I want to do.
Giving them aneurysms, triggering their OCD.
But now it's an even number. And that messes with my design idea. Have you ever seen those video clips or where they have multiple photographs of like what happens to your OCD when?
Oh. The worst is tile floors.
Oh, you know what? The
And
one
there's
that
one just slightly out of place or misaligned.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah. It
there's
drives
one
me nuts,
floating
too.
around right now that shows, where the stove is, and the stove fan is offset like by about 6 inches.
Oh, that would drive me nuts.
Oh, first of all, I'd burn the kitchen.
Oh, burn it down.
I would burn it because I couldn't live with that. That would drive me out of my mind. This didn't bother me. But apparently it bothers you guys, so that's okay. I'll fix it. Because I can. I could be a horrible person and just let it bother you. But I am not a horrible person. That's
Somebody
funny,
ate
though.
it.
It's funny. There we go. Almost there. Promise.
Hello from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, PA. Nice city. Pittsburgh is a nice city. Okay, guys, it's almost over. Promise.
What is your perfection line again?
Oh, yeah. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided at all costs. There you go. Okay now?
Now it looks too symmetrical.
Yeah, well, that was my feeling. There's symmetry, and then there's, symmetry. But if this makes y'all happy, I am fine with it. So I have to grab cinnamon stick. I'm kind of obsessed with this color.
Is that a red?
It's A
Or is it
brown.
brown?
There's another one called, a new color called, just a second, I'll find it.
I've been curious about this because where do you draw the line on what's a brown and what's a red?
I don't know. This is cinnamon stick. Where's the other one? There's a new color called red spice. And it is a red, but it's very close to this. But it's just far enough apart, you know?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where the line when
Yeah.
it's a red and when it's a brown.
Yeah. So I'm using a little bit of this color, this cinnamon stick. And this is my shading color because I like this on this cookie. I initially decided to use raw sienna, but I found it a little blah and it kind of flattened things out a little bit, which I didn't like. So I decided to use the cinnamon stick and then tone it with a little bit of asphaltum, and that worked out really nicely. And I like this. It just kind of gave the cookie a little toasty look. I think is the word I was looking for.
Toasty.
Toasty. You know. So I'm just floating a little bit of that cinnamon stick. And I have thinned this out quite a bit. And you've probably noticed that I don't often use colors full strength when I'm floating. So this color, this cinnamon stick, I just really like how it looks. It takes on this nice warm tone. But it is a little on the orangey side if you get a little heavy-handed with it. So that's why I say don't use it full strength.
Now I want sugar cookies. Make some, send some. I will always accept
That wasn't
cookies.
self-serving at all. So no.
No, never.
So I've got a little bit, just in a few places, and I'm not really worried about the location. I tend to go a little wherever, but I did focus on making sure that it shaded the icing in a couple of places. And then I'm going to come back in with a little bit of asphaltum. I'm going to switch to my 3/8 angle and a little bit of asphaltum. And again, I blend this color out. I don't use it full strength. And I'm just going to tone right over top of that cinnamon stick with a little bit of asphaltum. And it just gives the cookie a baked look. You know, that golden brown look that you want from your cookies. Now, when I highlighted my original piece, I goofed and I put it right on the edge, and I shouldn't have. What I should have done was this. Just come in from the edge slightly. Just a little.
No one wants my baking, trust me. What?
So I kind of like just a simple highlight and a small one. And I overdid it on the first one. When I painted the original piece, I overdid it and I had the highlight right on the edge.
I had cauliflower pizza dough last night. I will try anything.
It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't bad.
No.
It just odd.
It
was different.
was different, yes. You know me, I'm not a huge fan of pizza. I know. Don't come after me about it. I'm not a big pizza fan. I'll eat it. It's okay, but it's not my first choice for food. Here we go.
I had a sugar cookie that was done with one of them nut milks, like almond milk or...
Yep.
Yeah. No. It's got to be milk.
Yeah. No,
gotta be real
I
milk.
can't do the almond milk thing.
No, neither can I.
Virginia, my only problem with the cookie is that it's making me want to bake some. Go right ahead, sweetie.
Send some.
Kathy Krasowski, I'm not anxious for Christmas. I'm anxious for the cooler weather. I would be perfectly content if it was cooler.
September, October, November.
Yeah, I'm a fall person. I love the fall. I don't like all this heat and humidity. Yuck. So we have a cookie.
In a mug.
In a mug. But we have to do something with this mug because the mug is unfinished. So what are we going to do? I'm going to sharpen a pencil. If I can reach my pencil sharpener. There we go. I wanted it nice and sharp for this. So the line drawing does have this in there. But I like to freehand things because that's just me. So it's just a wobbly line like so. I know you guys are just dying to know how I do these, but it's pretty simple. So it's just a wobbly line like so. And then I place a leaf or two like this. And I place my leaf in the space and then I worry about the vines. So I can connect this way. So it gives you that nice vine without really having to work too hard to get it there. And then everything is placed where it's supposed to be. Like so. And then I connect the vines. So you can connect them directly to the stem or you can go past and connect it in another spot and it's okay. So, and then I just realized you guys can't see that. So you can freehand it on there if you want to. If you want to jump in and try your hand at it.
Nope. Miss Daniker's taking off.
Miss Deb. Hope you have a great weekend. And there we go. So we've got vines and leaves. And these are really simple. I'm going to use a small rigger. You'll notice I haven't done anything else with these leaves yet. So
Oh, there's a great comment.
what's that?
Your videos are always fun and well explained.
Oh, thank you.
That's her goal.
That's my goal. So I'm just using a little bit of that lush green or antique green. Either one will work just fine. And I'm just going to quickly paint in these leaves. They're just a teardrop shape, nothing too elaborate. They don't have to be perfect. And one coat is all we need. We have 3 other colors going on top of all of this green, so a full opaque base coat isn't necessary. I feel the same way about most colors, that a fully opaque base coat isn't essential. Of course, it depends on what it is, but in a case like this, it's not essential.
Where's Lucy up?
There we go. And I'm going to put another little leaf down here because it just looked like an empty space. There we go. So I have little green leaves.
Lucy's got to go be an Uber. Here comes my crew that I need to bring to work.
I'm going to spend the evening in my braces today.
Yeah.
So, yeah. My hands are very swollen. I'm swollen from this humidity. My hands and whatnot.
Yeah, my knuckles have been getting crunchier.
So we're going to go back to using that little 1/4 inch angle, that little tiny one. And I'm using a tiny amount of plantation pine. And it's my habit. I'm going to put just a little float just at the base of the leaf. Just a little shadow at the base of the leaf. It does not have to be perfect. It's just a little U-shaped float. Like so. It just helps give these little tiny leaves a little dimension and a little more interest. Even though they're tiny, I think if you don't treat them the same as every other design element, they tend to look a little flat and a little lifeless, and they look unfinished. So that little float just helps make them look like leaves. So there's that little float down at the base of the leaf. That little spot there, just where it joins the stem. And then I have a little bit of matcha green. You can use matcha green or celery shoot. All you need is a good yellow green. Doesn't matter what it is. And we're going to put a little highlight on the tip, just on the tip. So it's just a little dab of color, just at the tip of the leaf. Teeny tiny little float, just at the tip of the leaf. Don't overthink it. It's just get a little color in there. That's all you need. Little teeny tiny bit. I've been playing with celery shoot and matcha green. I like them because they're a little on the chalky side and they're a little bit more opaque. And so they cover nicely. And yet they still have that nice bright yellow green. So I've got little tiny leaves. So I'm going to grab my 15-aught liner or 10-aught liner, either one. You just need a nice long, extra long detail liner. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of that plantation pine, that dark green. Pick up a little bit of that, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit of matcha green at the same time. So I don't want this to look black. I want it to look green. And this is the color that we're going to use for these vines. So just follow that little sketch that you did, or follow the line drawing. And if you miss it, it's okay. Don't worry about it. If it goes off and it doesn't follow that line exactly, who cares? And then you're going to connect all of those vines with the leaves with a thin line of that same mixture. The plantation pine, when it's on this white, will read like black. It won't look green when it's that fine a line. It'll read like black. So I add a lighter value to it, just enough to change it slightly so that it doesn't look like a black line. And then I use it to connect these leaves. And it gives you a nice soft vine look. Gives you a pretty vine. So there is our little vine. Now, one of the things that I like to do with this, I like to come over and I take a liner and a little bit of that matcha green. It's a nice bright green. I'm going to put a little line to connect the leaf. It just highlights the leaf a little bit. And I just overstroke it onto that stem where we connected the green, where we connected the leaves. And by doing that, I get this nice little fold in the leaf. And it acts like a simple little highlight, but it doesn't drastically affect any of the detail. Gives you detail without changing everything. So I'm going to dry this really well, and then we're going to erase all of that pencil lines that we have on there, or graphite lines. See, to me, this is just a fun way to decorate these things. So I'm going to grab my Tombow Mono, and I'm going to erase all of those pencil lines. And the minute you get rid of those pencil lines, look how delicate those little vines look. Cleans them all up really nicely. And we've still got some white graphite lines peeking through. I'm going to get rid of those too. There we go. I don't like graphite lines. But I do love a good eraser, and this one is just fan-friggin-tastic. Look at that. Gets rid of your graphite, all that white graphite, and those bits and pieces and pencil marks, and they just all go away. And we end up with a nice, clean, finished piece. So we have another little detail to add to this vine, and we need to add some berries. And we're going to use the same red that we used for the cup, which is that tomato red. And if you have a stylus, I think I probably own one, but I couldn't tell you where they are. I don't use them anyway, but I like to use the end of my brush. So you can use the end of a rigger. So I'm using the end of a rigger for this. And we're going to put in little dots alternating down the vine, like so. So nice little red dots. And just bring them down like that. Now, if you prefer teeny tiny, then do teeny tiny. If you like them bigger, go big or go home. It's your piece. You can do it any way you want. And if you want to add another one, feel free. I'm just looking a little wanting there. So we've got some cute little berries. And I'm going to dry this because they're dots and I will get my fingers in them. Because I'm talented that way. This thing is just the answer. I love this thing.
Wondering how long everybody's been painting for.
Oh, I've been at it for quite a while.
39 years, 43, 46, 40, 35, 42, 37.
What year is it now? 23? So in 2017, I had been painting since 1976. So yeah, I've been painting a while. Math. Not today. So we're going to put a little dot of highlight on the upper left side of each one of those little berries, because they need a highlight too. Otherwise they just look like red dots and they might as well be berries.
47.
47 years. Yeah, I've been at it a while.
Just a bit. Just a tad.
Just a tad. So I'm going to dry that because it's me. And if it's not dry, I'm going to put my fingers in it because that's just how that works. So we just have a little bit of shading to do on this cup, and then we're going to put a highlight on. So remember, we did the Prussian blue down here on the red. And we're going to come up to the white. We're going to use a little bit of asphaltum. And again, it is not full strength, so blend it out really well. And we're going to put a nice little shadow behind the cookie on that white. And I like to walk it up a little bit.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
Debbie Garland Young has only been painting for 3 years.
Wow.
You know what genres are paint?
No?
Ooh,
Cool.
with your Santa Random Act of Kindness.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm of the opinion that no matter what gets you painting, as long as you paint and enjoy it, and the fact that you did it to do a random act of kindness, I think is awesome. So I've got that nice little shadow down there with the asphaltum, and I go right over everything. Now you know why it needs to be dry before you do that, because it's me. I will make a mess. And then I'm going to do the same thing under the lip, under the rim of that cup. Nice little float of asphaltum. And then I'm going to show you a little trick. So it never fails when you're painting something, especially when you're on a black background. It never bloody fails. You're going to get an area where it's not straight. And this screaming out at me, I can see it from a mile away, and it will drive me out of my mind if I don't fix it. So this is the great thing about working on a black background, is that I can make things straight again. Now, I often say that neatness doesn't count and perfection is to be avoided at all costs. And I mean that. You don't have to make things perfect. None of us are capable of making things perfect. So I just take a little of my background color, whether it's black or dark blue or whatever it is, and then take the time to clean up those little rough spots, those little areas that are perhaps not as clean as they could be. Little areas like this, where I put my finger in the paint and then immediately transferred it to the surface, because I do that all the time.
We have another birthday.
Do we?
Yeah, Kim Knee.
Nice. Happy birthday.
I cannot pronounce that last name.
So I just like to go around and clean up, because I can, with a little bit of that background color. You can fix almost anything. So little areas like here where the float went over onto the background, I can clean that up just with a little stroke of black. And it's just, it gives everything, not a perfection, but it gives everything a nicely finished look. And that is more important than the perfection part. If it has a nicely finished look, that's what I like to see. And so you get these nice straight edges. You can fix those little wobbles and bobbles very easily. Just take a little time to do it. It makes a world of difference. The other thing you can do is, if you get areas where you missed the graphite line, or there's an area where your paint kind of went over when you were floating, or something just doesn't look quite right. Or if you're like me, some areas of the cookie get bigger than they should be.
Apparently you missed a stem on the bottom leaf of the center stripe.
Bottom look. I did so. Nice catch. I fix.
Now with Debbie.
I did. There, fixed. So I'm going to dry this real quick, and then we're going to add a highlight to our cup in a couple of places. I got my dry brush. So my dry brush is loaded with a little bit of warm white. I do not have a lot of paint on here. And right here, in between those two floats, I'm just going to put a light dry brush. Right in the center of that red. Very light. We're not looking for a harsh, bright highlight, just a little. I'm going to do a little bit on the base here. Just a little. And I'm going to use a little bit of warm white over here on the lip. Little stroke there. A little bit here. A little bit there. And then you have a quick look around. We have the leaves up top here to finish. All of the holly. So, a little bit of matcha green or celery shoot. I'm going to put a highlight on the up the center vein and on the points of the leaves. Just like that. I love holly leaves. I just think they're such a pretty leaf. Interesting because they've got, I don't like to call them barbs. They've got points. And depending on the type of holly, some of them have almost a variegated look. So, little highlight. Super simple. And then we're going to come back in with a little bit of that plantation pine. And this is where we're going to deepen that float in the center vein. It gives these leaves a nice sharp look and a slick, polished look. And it gives them great definition. Gives them nice shine and whatnot. So we have leaves. And then I'm going to take that matcha green or that celery shoot or sprout, that high yellow green. I'm going to pick up a little of that plantation pine. I need to make it a little lighter, kind of muddy. There we go. And I'm going to do the stem here. So I like to press down to get that wider bit at the base. And then I like to connect all my leaves.
What paints are you using?
I am just using Deckward Americana. These are my favorite brand. And then I'm going to thin this out a little bit more with a little more matcha green so that I get a lighter value. And if you've painted with me, I like to add a little detail to the edges of my leaves with a simple little outline. Nothing too elaborate. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't even have to be right on the edge of the leaf. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one here. Oh, I hear that evil laugh. What's up?
Don't tick off old people. The older we get, the less life in prison is a deterrent.
Yeah. You just figuring that one out? Yeah, we hit a certain age and, you know, our give a damn is busted. Just saying. So we have holly berries. I have 2 here and I have 3 up here. I'm going to show you a little trick. So when you're on a black background and you want nice bright berries, put a little coat of white first. Doesn't matter which red you're using, just a little coat of white. Doesn't have to be opaque. Just something to interrupt all that black. That's all you need. And I prefer white because then it just gives your berries a nice bright red, regardless of what red you use.
Apparently my microphone's not working. Turn it up.
So I'll dry that real quick. And I'm using the same red that I used on the cup. So if I come in with that bright red, I'm only using 1 coat. I don't need more than that. But look at how nice and bright that red is with just that 1 little coat of white underneath. Nice bright red. 1 coat.
That's horrible. A picture of Noah's Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Says Captain's Log, day 39.
Okay.
Roasted unicorn is delicious.
Okay.
That explains it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
That's why we don't have unicorns anymore.
Yep. So, berries, holly berries. I'm using a little bit of Prussian blue. Remember the blue that we used on that candy cane? I like carrying those colors around. So, holly berries. I'm going to shade my holly berry with a little float of Prussian blue. And these ones up here as well. Little float on the right. All of the little balls that you see on here all got shaded on the right. So, little float, Prussian blue. And then we're going to use a little bit of warm white. Goodness, I got too much water in my brush. Way too much water in my brush. Not enough glaze. There we go. A little bit of warm white, and I do mean a little bit. And I'm going to blend it well. And we're going to put a highlight in from the edge. Remember what we did with the first group of berries. In from the edge just slightly so that there's a little sliver of the red showing. And it's a half circle. And the white joins up with the blue. And then I'm going to dry that. And we're going to take a little dot of warm white for a highlight, and it goes same location as the others, where the white joins the blue on the upper left. We have berries, we have holly, we have berries. I want to add a little something, something. I like a little. I'm a fan of curlicues. I like little vines and tendrils. I like it when things are lacy looking. So we have lettering. I think everything looks pretty good. I'm looking at my candy cane thinking it's a little... See how it seems to get narrow right here? Not happy with that. So let's fix it. So there's a little spot here, right here, that will drive me to distraction if I don't fix it. So I'm just going to base coat in that stripe a little bit, because it's not straight, it actually bent when I base coated it in. I'm gonna dry this. I'm gonna fix that stripe. It's a perspective thing. This thing was not where it should have been. And so it was throwing off the perspective and it was driving me insane. And that is a short trip. But it's also a very easy fix. So I'm just going to come back in, put in that shadow, deepen that shadow, et voila, problem solved. Just needed to be fixed a little bit.
Are you good about cleaning your brushes, and what do you use?
Most of the time, I make sure my brushes are well rinsed, and then a little bit of hand sanitizer if they're really, really dirty. But most of the time, Jack's Studio Soap or Decoart's brush cleaner. Those are my two. And generally, my brushes get used daily, so they often look like this. Pretty crusty at times, but the business end of the brush is nice and clean. The rest of it looks like a train wreck, but... So, lettering. My favorite brush for lettering is a number 2 or a number 0 rigger, which is what we're using today.
Did somebody lick the stick, maybe?
I'm gonna get a new rigger.
A new one?
Mama needs a new rigger. Ooh,
Ouch.
ouch. That's a 10-aught. I don't need a 10-aught. I need a... I have a bouquet of riggers. There we go. Brand new rigger. So if you haven't seen me do lettering before, a rigger looks like a liner brush, but the difference is the business end of this thing is square, like a flat. Unlike a liner, where a liner brush comes to a point, this one actually is flat. And that's what makes them so great for lettering. So, for lettering, I use a fair amount of glaze and I thin my paint quite a bit. I want it very inky. And we're just going to paint this lettering white. And the nice part about this is because it has a square edge, I press down.
Patrick's off. Off to make dinner.
Have a great night, Patrick.
And Tracy, any help with motivation?
With motivation, getting the motivation to paint, go down to your local library on one of your daily walks or whatever and take out any book on art, any art book, whether it's mixed media, whether it's a coffee table book about Michelangelo or whatever it is, and just find yourself a nice quiet spot. Make yourself a cup of tea or your favorite coffee, or if you want to, pour a glass of wine or a beverage. It doesn't matter. And then just take the time to disconnect and have a look at everything. Flip through it slowly and then start asking yourself questions. How did they achieve that? What did they use? Read the book, find out what they used, what they created with. 9 times out of 10, just looking at other art will inspire you to create your own.
Go to an art gallery.
Go to an art gallery. Go take a walk around an art gallery. Never
Don't
a
touch
bad
it.
thing.
Don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything. For those of you that don't know, Renee works security for an art gallery. So, I like everybody else. I struggle with motivation sometimes to come downstairs, to the studio and design. And so I will go through my own books. I have a great many books on art, variety of techniques and methods. I'll grab a sketchbook and just sit and doodle. And sometimes you just don't feel like painting, and that's okay too. I have spent days where I just spend the whole day on Pinterest. I'm not kidding. I spend the whole day on Pinterest, just flipping through things. Sometimes it's just a matter of not being inspired, not knowing what you want to create. It's like not knowing what to make for dinner some nights. It's just, so you just need to flip through a cookbook and find the recipe that, sort of catches your attention. Go through craft magazines, go through your stash of patterns, go surf around on the website of your favorite designers. Sometimes that's all it takes to get you going. And it's the same for me. I will get online and I'll go cruising, my favorite designers' websites. I mean, I go look at Sherry Rawls' designs. I love Sherry Rawls' work. I'll go look on Pinterest. I can spend hours on Pinterest and find fun stuff to create. Lately, for me, I've been researching for my Did You Know thing that I've been doing recently. And I've been finding tons of inspiration there. The one today was just, I remember when Sandy and I were in London, England, doing some work for Deckwart, we had a couple of days where we could spend it just roaming around London. We were lucky. So we finished working and we decided we were going to take like 3-4 days and just go tootling around England. We tootled around the countryside for a couple of days, and then we went to London for a couple of days. And one of our favorite places was the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum. And the artwork, the gallery in there is just breathtaking. And we saw all these wonderful sculptures and paintings and handmade jewelry and mosaics. There was just so much that both of us came home just wired for sound, couldn't wait to create. And we were exhausted, but we couldn't wait to get back at the studio. We had just spent 3 weeks of travel time. We were going from Phoenix, Arizona to Germany for a week and then off to England for a week. And it was exhausting. It was a lot of work, but you would think that after all of that we would not, the last thing we wanted to do was go to work, but we couldn't wait to get in the studio. But motivation it's a struggle, especially when you've got other obligations too. You have family, you have meals to prepare, and a home to look after, and gardens to take care of, and grandchildren and puppy dogs. All of those things, they divide your time and your attention. So I get it. Sometimes it's hard to get motivated to do any of that. And there we go. So I've got lettering done. Now, everybody seems to think that you need to have the lettering to be fully opaque. You don't. You really don't. So I'm going to dry this really well, because the next step, there's a lot of erasing. I don't want to take any of the paint off. And I need to clean up some of these graphite lines. clean off my workspace a little bit. I grab my eraser. Oh, there it is.
See that? When I was airbrushing, that was what a lot of people suggested.
What's that?
Just pick up the brush.
Yeah, just start working with it. Just
Yeah.
pick up the brush.
Just make lines, do strokes, do all sorts of things.
Yeah. And I just missed a couple of spots here.
It turns out I have a tattoo style of airbrushing, which is weird.
Oof, goodness. It wasn't quite dry, and I ended up taking paint right off my surface.
Ouch.
It's okay, fixed it.
Happens.
It happens.
Is it okay to leave a brush in the water basin?
No, not really. She said while her brushes are sitting in water. You know what? Leaving them there for 5-10 minutes is okay. Leaving them there overnight, not so much. And I'm as guilty of that as anybody, to be perfectly honest. Mine are sitting in water right now. They really shouldn't be, but they are. So I take them out. Leaving them sitting in water actually creates a problem. Water will continue to travel, and it causes the wooden handle to swell. And then when it shrinks and swells over time, the ferrules get loose, and it just in general does a number on your brushes. So no, leaving them for long periods of time in water is not a good thing, but we're all guilty of it. So I'm just erasing a few graphite lines, cleaning things up a little bit for the next step. The graphite around these berries is going to drive me nuts. There we go. So bottom of the lettering, I like to put Prussian blue at the bottom of the lettering. We've used Prussian blue in so many places wherever there was crisp white, like on these cookies, like on the candy cane and whatnot. So I'm going to take a little float Prussian blue at the bottom of the letter. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just come up about halfway. It just gives the lettering a little oomph. So they don't look quite so blah. And so I'll dry that. And then we have a little bit of finishing to do. Just a little. Not a lot, but a little. So I'm going to dry this really well. And then we're going to spatter this with a little bit of warm white. I'm going to use one of my fugly brushes for that. I like my fugly brush. So a little bit of thinned warm white, and I'm going to mess up my manicure. And I like it fairly fine. Some people like it heavier. That's okay, but I prefer it fine, but that's just me. So we've got a little bit of white spatter everywhere. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. And then we're going to paint some snowflakes. I love these. Absolutely love these. I have a thing about snowflakes. And these are little laser cut, 1/4-inch laser cut snowflakes. And every once in a while you get these little bits that need to come out. You can just push them out with your finger or with paintbrush. I put 6 of them in there. I only used 5 in mine. I didn't really see the need to use more than that, but I'm going to use a little bit of warm white, and we're just going to quickly base coat just the top of the snowflake. 3 big ones, 2 little ones. And I know that's probably going to bug people. Oh, It's a puppers.
It's a buffers.
Now, I also use the laser cut chipboard snowflakes. So if you have some of those will work fine too. Places like Hobby Lobby, especially around the holidays, they have these little bags full of little plastic snowflakes and whatnot. If you have those, use those. You don't have to have exactly what I use. It's just as long as you get some snowflakes. So I have snowflakes. Now you can do two things. You can use a little bit of Glamour Dust, which is this one, this dry glitter. Or you can use Glamour Dust paint. That's not the one. Here we go. Which is this one. This one is the Ultra Fine Glitter Paint. And this one is Ice Crystal, which is clear. I like that one. But it also comes in a huge array of colors, which is so fun. So I'm going to make sure those are good and dry. Now, if you're using a dry glitter for this, you can use a little bit of matte medium or a little bit of decoupage medium or Mod Podge, whatever. Just put a brush of coat on and then sprinkle a little of this on. But I'm going to show you this one. I really like these. I have been using this type of thing since they came out with these. This is probably a good 15 years ago. These are fantastic. This is an ultra fine glitter. It's very subtle and it works really, really well. So I'm going to grab angle brush and a little bit of that glitter paint. And I'm just going to brush it quickly over top of that white. This one has a really nice finish. It brushes on really nice. If you like a more bold glitter, try using the Galaxy glitters. Those are really fun. And they work in the very same way. They just brush on like paint. I like this one because the sparkles are really subtle. It's very simple and very small. It's not over the top glitter. So it's quite pretty. We could always decorate Renee with this.
No.
So I love glitter. So I'm going to dry this real quick. The nice part is this dries actually really quickly, so we can use that right away. And I'm going to break out my favorite glue. Renee's showing me.
Tuesday.
Cute. Renee keeps showing me pictures of puppies. I think that's a hint.
Malinois and Dutch puppies.
Yeah. He wants a Mal. Or a Dutchie. Mal or another Dutchie.
That's the thing. I don't know yet.
All in good time. So once these are dry enough that you can handle them, you can just put a little bit, I'm using a little bit of Aleene's Clear Tacky. I like this gel glue. This stuff is really nice. The only thing is it's slow. There we go. And then you can pick and choose where you put these. Just because I put them in a specific location doesn't mean you have to. And they can overlap things. Don't be afraid to make things overlap.
Where do I get said fugly brush?
Thebrushguys.com and use the coupon code Tracy M. They'll give you a nice little discount. And it's called, it is not called a fugly brush. That's what I call them. It is actually called a Dynasty Encaustic Oval. I like sparkles. Sparkles are fun.
I gotta find Linda's question. Where'd it go? On the bonus pattern you have in with the pattern, what size is the checkerboard stencil you used?
Oh, it's the 1/8.
1/8.
Yeah. 1/8 checkerboard. So this time around, I did use all of the snowflakes, just because I know it's probably bugging you guys. So there we go. Fun little piece. Now, because I use a variety of things, I'm using glitter paint. Sometimes I use pens. Sometimes, I use a whole bunch of different things when I'm designing and creating. So I always recommend, if you're going to varnish them, whip out to the garage and put down 1 or 2 coats of Decoart's matte spray or any brand of matte spray over top this, just to set everything. And then you can go ahead and varnish. Then you don't have to worry about anything moving or what have you. But that is our warm holiday wishes. Fun little piece. Whee! Boop, boop.
That one. What was that? Saw something about Malinois.
Mal's?
Sandra Jackson. Good choice. Love the way Malinois think.
Yeah, they're psychotic.
They're not psychotic. Malinois and Dutchies are there. Their whole goal in life is to please
Yes.
whoever is their caretaker.
Yeah. They're working dogs.
They're a working dog.
Yeah.
And I love working with Mouse.
Yep.
I
So-
didn't realize Dot was a Dutchie until I got her DNA tested.
Yeah.
And it made training her so much easier.
Easier, yeah. Knowing what she was.
Yeah, and I suggest that to anybody looking for a dog now,
Yeah.
is find out what your dog is.
Yeah. Get their DNA tested, and that way you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you can foresee,
Health issues.
potential issues, potential,
And
problems training.
actually now you can go to your vet, get a DNA test, find out what your dog is, and they'll actually do a medical background on the DNA to see if they have markers for certain
Yeah.
things.
So you can get ahead of any potential health issues too.
Our local PD just got a new canine Mal. Awesome. I bet I know the company that provided it. Probably worked for them. We got to draw some names.
We do. We have 6 of them to give away this week. Like I said, the giveaways this week are some of them have Dynasty brushes in them. Some have stencils. Some have stamps. There's a whole bunch of fun little goodies in there. I try to make sure that there's something fun in it. I'm gonna sneeze.
Do it. Face away from the microphone. Did you just implode?
Oh, that hurt.
Now you got the hiccups, right?
No.
No.
My nose is stuffed.
Oh.
Ugh. I hate allergies. That's what I hate about all this humidity. It's horrible. Horrible.
What do we got? Holy crap. Awesome. All right, let's get boom. I just gotta move this camera a little bit so we can see your face. Boom. We got
Goodness.
207 names on there.
Oh my goodness. That's a good day.
That's a good day. So, let's spin?
Yeet.
Yeah, let's spin. First name. And the first prize. I don't know what's in here. Karen F. Ezzo.
Nice. So as I say every week, please go to the website if your name is drawn. Go to tracymoreau.net. Down on the lower right-hand corner of the homepage, there's a little speech bubble. If you click on that, you can send us a message with your shipping information so that we get your goodies out to you. If you are not registered on my website, we will not have you on the server. So please make sure that you send us a message with your shipping information. We only hang on to the giveaways for 2 weeks. After that, they go back in the bin because it's just a phenomenal amount of time. and my time in the studio, I like to dedicate as much as I can to painting, and chasing down addresses is not high on my list.
Joanne Hutchinson.
Awesome, Joanne. It's great seeing a whole bunch of new names on here. Bernie's got that wheel loaded up. I can't believe I did my hair this morning. It looked so nice. And the humidity just, I don't know why I bothered.
It did a thing.
It did a thing, yes. It went to hell in a handbag is what it did.
Oh, there's a name we recognize.
Oh, yeah?
Louise Long.
Right on. We have so many great followers. You guys are amazing. We love that you come and join us every Saturday. So we've got 3 more to give away. I know there's a bunch of goodies in there.
I can't see.
Thank you, Casey. That's nice of you to say. She's a good class. Excellent demo. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We have a lot of fun doing this.
Lynn Kostanuk?
Lynn Kostanuk. Bet she's Canadian.
Or Ukrainian.
Or Ukrainian, yeah.
Which?
Probably from Manitoba.
Probably from Manitoba.
Yep. So, ladies, if your name is drawn, make sure that you hop onto the website at tracymoreau.net. Click on the little speech bubble and send us your shipping information so that we can get these goodies out to you.
Second to last. Lori Skiffington.
Lori! I see Lori's name pop up all the time. She's either placed an order or she sent me a nice little note. She's just so sweet. So, yes. Congratulations, Lori. And honey, you don't have to worry. I know where you live.
Again.
Where did that register on the
Out of
creep
context,
level?
That would be creepy.
Yeah.
And the last winner for this week is...
One last one. And Elizabeth had a birthday yesterday, too.
Suzanne Gagnon.
Right on. And Suzanne, I know your shipping information as well.
There we go. That's our 6 winners.
So that's our 6 winners for today. Suzanne Gagnon, Louise Long,
Lynn Kostanuk.
Lynn Kostanuk,
Lori Skiffington.
Lori Skiffington,
Joanne Hutchinson.
Joanne Hutchinson, and
Karen F. Ezzo.
our noob.
Our noob.
We have a noob. So those are our winners for this week. Next Saturday, we're painting this one. The violet teacup. This one's going to be fun. I had a lot of fun doing this one, and I think it's quite pretty. It came out quite nice. So that is the one that we're painting next Saturday. And I am busily working on the piece for the following Saturday. So we have a lot coming up for you guys. And I think the next one is probably going to be on canvas. So we're going to keep it really simple so you guys will be able to get surfaces easily. My favorite canvas is an 8x8. It just makes life so much simpler because they're readily available anywhere. And I just happen to know that Michael's has them in bundles. They have those great little bundles. The Art Loft canvases come in 8x8 bundles. They're great. So don't forget to join us next Saturday for that teacup. We're going to have a lot of fun with that one. The pattern and the kit are available on the website at tracymoreau.net. The kits come complete with your stencils, the surface, the printed pattern, everything is in there, including the shipping. So go and check that out. If you don't already follow my YouTube channel, please do so. Hit the big red subscribe button on my YouTube channel and turn on your bell notifications so that you know when we go live and when we have new video for you. And as always, thank you so much for joining us every Saturday. We appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun. And join us again soon. And before I go, don't forget to pet your dog.
Hey!
I'm stealing
Mine.
his lines now.
Mine.
Everybody, we love you. Please stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Pet your dog.